everybody, it's Redhead Boo here, finally back with a new video. I apologise for the fact that I have not filmed in a long time. I think the last video I did was my holiday vlog from my summer holiday to Lanzarote. So if you have not seen that video yet, then if you want to, please go and check it out because yeah, I had the best time ever and I am so excited to return again next year. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, I might do a separate video about that next week because I've got so much to talk about. But today's video is going to be one about a show which I have been to see over this summer and last year. So a bit of a background. I have been a fan of magic, things like that for a long time now. And on my bucket list for a few years now, I have always wanted to go and see Derren Brown live. And never in a million years did I ever think that I would get the chance to see him. And the chance came about last year and I jumped at the chance and booked tickets for my birthday and I went to the show obviously, and then my sister didn't go the first time and she really wanted to go, so I booked as a surprise to go again to Leeds, and yeah, it was absolutely unreal. And I will say as well, this video is going to be a review, like Q&A of Showman, which is his latest tour. It's still ongoing and it's going on until October this year, and then he's doing a few West End shows of it in, let me get this right, from December to March next year. So yeah, and honestly, if you have not got tickets, I highly recommend you book them because it's incredible. Like, it's mind-blowing, it's emotional, it's just epic, and yeah, I definitely think people need to go and see this masterpiece, this true showman. Like, honestly, hands down the best show I've ever seen in my life. But if you are going to see the show, I wouldn't watch this video because some of the questions I might be giving away stuff that happens during the show, so if you're going, I wouldn't recommend watching because it will include spoilers. But if you have gone and you agree or disagree with me about anything that I say, please let me know what you think and what you thought to the show yourself if you have seen it. And yeah, just let's get started because there are so many questions to answer. So, question number 1, how many times have I seen the show? So as I have mentioned, I have been lucky enough to see the show twice. So the first time was on Tuesday the 5th of October 2021. I booked these tickets, well, I booked them but my mum paid because it was sort of a birthday present to me. So I was in Scarborough and I was just scrolling through Facebook, as you do, and I saw that Bradford Alhambra had posted and said that Derren Brown was coming to Bradford Alhambra in October, and I was like, oh my god. And I remember saying to my mum, would we be able to get tickets for me and you to go for my birthday? And she said yes. Originally she said yes, but I don't want to sit in stalls. And I was a bit like, I sort of want to sit in stalls because I just think you'll feel a bit more involved in the show and stuff. So I managed to convince her and we got 4th row, like to the, I want to say to the left, so we were like left towards the middle a bit as well. And if you haven't seen one of my videos, I was actually chosen to go on stage by Derren, which I still can't believe to this day. Like, it still blows my mind that I actually shared the stage with someone like him. Like, it was an incredible experience. Terrifying, but amazing, and I'll never ever forget it in my life. And then on the 24th of August, I went to see the show again in Leeds, and because it was sort of last minute, there weren't many tickets like together, and part of the show I really wanted to try and get involved in was the phone trick at the start of the show, which I have to go into a bit of more detail further on, so I won't say much about it now. But so I booked front row thinking the show would be the same, and it slightly changed, which I wasn't bothered about because I did just want to see the show again, and I was like, okay, I'll still try. I'm not expecting to get on stage again, but if I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. I'll just watch it as an audience member, and yeah. So I did. I watched it as an audience member, and it was incredible being front row. There were things that I did notice that were different, and I'll go into more detail further along, as I said, but yeah, still amazing, so loved it. Question number 2. Would you go and see Showman again? I probably would, but I do think 3 times is a bit much. I don't know. I do think I would, just because I think what I loved most about this show is it's so different to anything I've ever seen before. Like, don't get me wrong, I've seen magicians before, like going to holiday camps and stuff like that, but Darren is just on another level, and I think what he does is very different to magic. Like, it's about suggestion, it's about the audience. It's very much about the audience, especially this show in comparison to others that he's done. And it's mostly about the mind and how we're all connected and stuff, and yeah, so it's very, very good. So I do think I would see it again, but I would really be interested in seeing it as a West End show. But then again, would I want to see it again? I don't really know. I don't know. I'm in mixed feelings about it, but yeah, I don't know. Question number 3. What was the best part of the show? Oh, God. That is so hard because there are so many like standout, mind-blowing moments which, like, I cannot work out how any of the tricks were done, and in a way I sort of don't really want to know how they were done, because I feel like that would not ruin it, but yeah. My favourite part of the show, I did really enjoy the coin and the banknote and the dice trick. I thought they were all incredibly clever, and I think because it was an audience member who was actually doing it rather than Derren, it just made me think, like, would I be able to do that? Like, if I would have been brave enough, because I'm going to tell this story now, actually. In Bradford, well, no, I'm not. I can't tell it yet, but it's in like 2 questions time, so you won't have long. But I was very close to doing it, but yeah, I didn't. I just think that was a really cool trick. But another one I really liked was the card in the box. or Card to the Box, I think it was called. I just I found it really interesting because that part of the show in particular affected me and other audience members as well, and everyone always talks about it. People are still going on about it on social media, so if you've seen the show, you know what I'm on about. Like, it's just scary in a way that we can be made to forget a section of it but not have any side effects. Like, it's very odd. It is very, very odd. I will say that now. Question number 4. Did any of Darren's tricks work on you? Yes, they did. That's a simple answer. They did indeed. So the tricks that worked on me were obviously, so that we did an experiment in Bradford, which is what led me to be picked to go on stage, because Derren always says he does try, and if he does an experiment, he tries to use the most suggestible out of the audience, but because of COVID at that time, he was only allowed about 4 people on stage, and the experiment was you had to like stretch your arms out, clasp your hands together, squeeze them together, and he would say that like your hands would stick together, like almost like they were welded or glued. And obviously the suggestion of them words goes into your mind and you can't unstick them. Obviously it didn't work on everyone, so it said if it doesn't work on you, sit down. So quite a few people had sat down. And then he said, for those of you who still have their hands stuck, I am going to unstick your hands, and when I do, like when you forget the name of a brand or the name of a person, you will forget your own name. And yeah, I forgot my own name, which is so bizarre, so weird. And I remember my mum saying to me, can you honestly just not remember it? And I said, no, it's gone. And I was just looking very confused, very shocked, very bewildered. And he said to the audience, if it's worked on you and you can't remember your name, come to the steps at the front of the stage. And it was on my side, so I got up out my seat and walked down to the steps. And because I was very close to the front, I think I was one of the first people to get there. So he told me to come forward a bit, and he chatted with me and just said, what's your name? And I just said, I don't know, I can't remember it. And he said, okay, have you tried to remember it? And I said, yes, I can't think what it is at all. It's completely gone. And I'm pretty sure I can remember him like moving his eyes like one way to the other, and I don't know if that was to see if like my eyes would just move along with his, just to see if I was suggestible or not, because he was talking to other people and he was picking people to go on stage, and he just looked at me again and he just said, I'm gonna take you up, pointed at me, and I was like, okay. So I just went on stage, and it was so weird but amazing. And the card to the box trick worked on me as well, because he did say that some of the audience members whose hand was stuck together at the start, you may find that you don't see. So the person who was on stage with Derren for the card to box trick was, we're not sure what happened, but they were the one who were like walking around and putting the card in the box, sitting down and just not realising they'd done it. And he said, some of you will see this happen, some of you won't. And I didn't see it happen in Bradford. And my mum was like, did you see it? Because she did. And I was like, no, I didn't. I don't know if this was because I was still not suffering, but because I'd been hypnotised, my mind was very much open to what was going on, so maybe because it was open, I was affected. But yeah, it was very weird, and it happened again in Leeds, and I remember chatting to everyone next to me and them saying, "Do you remember it?" And I said no, and I said to them, "Do you?" And they said no. So it was very weird. Very weird. I can't explain it. Question number 6. Were there any differences of seeing Showman at 2 venues? So yes, there were differences. So the only main difference that happened was people who were on stage didn't always have to wear a mask. Like they did when they were going up, and he didn't really get close to a lot of people. But they didn't have to keep it on for the duration. If he had to like touch someone, he would sanitise, you would sanitise and all that. But that's what happened in Bradford. But the main difference, so in Bradford, the start of the show, there was a physical phone on stage on a table which would ring, and then an audience member had to stand up, go answer it, and then they'd be taken away and taught the coin trick, the dice and all of that. So I was very tempted to go up and answer it, but because I'd never really been to see a show that Darren's done before, I was very scared, and I was a bit like, I don't want to do it. And I was literally like getting up out of my seat. I was like, do I do it? Do I not? Do I risk it? And looking back now, I do wish I would have been brave enough to go up. And someone in the front row ended up going up and doing it. And I think if they hadn't got up, I probably would have tried, but I was way too scared to do anything. So I was like, I just can't do it. So yeah, I was very, very, very scared. But in Leeds, the show started with this video with instructions saying like, if you're aged 18 to 65, stand up. So literally everyone stood up, and when you went into the auditorium where the stage was, there was a sign on the back of the stage which said, please turn your phone to silent but keep it on. And we were all like, what's going on? And then basically these rules would come up to say like, if you're drunk, if you're holding your phone in your left hand, sit down. If you're claustrophobic, sit down, and all of that. And I remained stood up, and I don't want to say this now in case Darren's watching, but one of the rules was, if you've seen the show before, sit down. I had seen the show previously, but I did want to try and get on stage, so I remained standing. Sorry. But yeah, it was just, I think in a way it's such a cool way to start the show, like dialing a number and seeing if you've got through or not. I didn't get through, sadly, but in a way, I would have loved to have tried it myself, but you can't achieve everything. And yeah, and I was just happy to sort of see the show as an audience member this time rather than on stage. I did feel bad about laughing at the people who'd forgot their name in number 7, just because I know how confusing it felt for them because it happened to me. So yeah, I sort of felt a bit of sympathy towards them. Question number 7. Did I notice things the second time round compared to the first time you saw the show? I think I did actually. Like, I'm trying to think what was different. What I noticed. So I noticed, well, one of the big differences was obviously when I was on stage and asleep, I couldn't really understand what he was saying. And when he was saying all the stuff about like numbers before he makes them forget the number 7, I just didn't remember him saying any of that. So to actually see that from an audience perspective and hear what he said, I was a bit like, I just didn't think he'd said that in Bradford to me at all. And I was a bit like, what? I was so just confused and like, I didn't remember it at all. Yeah, it's very, very odd. But I do think Darren sort of recognised me, which everyone, when I said I was going the second time, everyone said to me, there is a chance he could recognise you if you tried to get on stage again. So I was like, I'll be fine. He wouldn't recognise me because I didn't do anything memorable. I wasn't trying to be funny the first time. I was just me. I was just myself. And as soon as he came on stage, I sort of clocked eye contact with him. And I saw a bit of a smile and I was a bit like, that wasn't me. So I don't know if he'd put 2 and 2 together and worked out I was seeing the show again. But yeah, I was a bit, I don't know. And then during the name thing, I do feel like one of the main differences is because he asked people if they wanted to do the experiment. This time in Leeds, he just told everyone to stand up and do it. So because I did it again, I think my hands felt more stuck. I don't know if because my mind had remembered that I was suggestible or because I already knew I was suggestible, the fact that they were feeling more stuck, I don't know. But anyway, the trick worked on me again, and Darren said, if it's worked on you, come to the stairs. So I did, and I got to like near the end of my row expecting Darren to be on stage, and he wasn't. He was just out in the audience right at the end of my row and saw me walking towards him. I was like, oh hello, has it worked on you? And I said, yeah. And he said, just go join the line of people. So I walked past him and was given the look again, and I was like, right, okay, he knows it's me, he's probably not going to choose me again. So I was just like going with the flow and everything. So I was like, okay, that's fine, I'll just stay here, it's okay. But it was good, I loved it. Question number 8, were you nervous being on stage with Darren? Honest to God, I was absolutely bricking it. I was not nervous. Well, I was. I was terrified. Like, being an ex-performer myself, like doing drama and acting, I thought on stage I'd be absolutely fine. But it's the fact with seeing Darren, it's about the fear of the unknown. Like, you don't know what to expect. He doesn't like people saying what's happened in the show, so he might not like this, sorry. But I had no idea what was going on. I just knew my name had gone and I didn't know what it was. That was it. So that, I think the fact that I was very young and that had happened to me, that's what scared me the most. So yeah, in a way I was a bit like, oh god. But yeah, and I was quite tense because he had to like just look at me and just say, look, relax. So I just put my arms by my side and just relaxed. And with him telling me to relax, that sort of made me feel more at ease, I guess, which was nice. Yeah. But I think now if I did go see more shows he does, I'd feel a bit more relaxed, I guess. So yeah. Question number 8. How did it feel to forget your own name and the number 7 existed? I can't really describe it. It felt very weird. it felt like an outer body experience. Like, I didn't believe it. Well, I did, but it was such a weird feeling. Like, I sort of knew it was in the back of my mind, but it just felt like something was, like there was a physical barrier in the way, preventing it from coming into my brain. I don't know. I can't explain it. It was just so odd, so bizarre, and just amazing. Like, looking back at it now, it was brilliant and one of the best experiences I've ever had, and it was an honour to just share the stage with someone so talented and just be in his presence and actually have him do something to me. Like, it was weird, but yeah, awesome at the same time. So, question number 10. What sentimental objects did you take with you and what are the stories behind them? So, if you follow Derren Brown on social media, you will see that whenever he goes to a new venue on this tour, he always puts out a video saying that if you're coming to see the show at this venue, please bring with you a sentimental object which you can place in your hands like that, which has like a nice story behind it. Quite interesting. So, the first time I went to the show in Bradford, when I saw that video, I took this. Don't know how well you can see it on camera. So this is a pin badge which I got when I went on board the Disney Magic last summer. And I bought this because one of my favourite meats was Chip and Dale, and I wanted a Disney pin badge to do with cruising, and I saw the main like goofy one with the magic logo on it, and I thought, that's cute, but it was quite expensive for a pin. And then I saw this one, and it said, the fact it says my first Disney cruise, because it was, and the fact it had Chip and Dale in their little sailor outfits, I just thought is so cute. And I thought, if he can get the fact that like the details about the cruise and maybe about the characters and that being my favourite meat, he might work it out. So I thought that's quite cool. But I didn't get chosen, which I don't mind. And so I took with me to the second show this, which is a Christmas decoration of an apple, and the story behind this is I used to have a cat called Winnie. She loved this bauble so much. Every time we put the tree up and it was on the tree, if it was like on one of the lower down branches, she would knock it off and she would play with it for, I'd say, a few minutes at least. And when she passed away, when I was about 10 years old, we decided that this Christmas decoration would always have to go on a tree first in her memory. So yeah, it's cute. So they were my objects, and I just thought, and I should have taken the Christmas decorations to the first show, but I decided, no, I'm going to take my badge. And then I thought, which one could I take when I booked the second day? And I was like, I'm going to take the Christmas decoration. Question number 11. What did you love most about Showman and why? I think what I loved most about Showman is, compared to his other shows, like the earlier ones, so Enigma, Something Wicked This Way Comes, Infamous, Miracle, they all link really well together. All of his shows are just fantastic, and they all link together, and they have references to other parts of the show and everything. This show in particular was very emotional, and this show was meant to start when the very first lockdown happened. The first day we went into lockdown in 2020 in March, and the show was all about like how we're all like connected, and we all come together. Like, we're all different, but then again we can all like come together and connect, and how we're all made to feel isolated and everything. And the fact that this show has been going on since COVID, it sort of made the show a bit more relatable, I think. And I love the concept behind it. Like, there's a few references to losses and family. It's very family orientated as well. And can I just say, the ending to this show is just amazing. Like, I don't really want to say what the ending is just because I don't want to ruin it, but hands down, it's just so good, and the whole show's just amazing. But I'm so glad I got to see this show more than once because it's just fantastic. And like I said at the start of the video, it's hands down the best live theatre show I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot. So, well done, Derren. 5 stars. 10 out of 10 would recommend to anyone. Question number 12. What did you take away from the show? For example, anything that has made you look at life in a different perspective now? I think what I've taken from this show is I want to take more risks, because when I went on stage, I could have easily turned around and said, I don't want to. Like, I don't want to come on stage. I'm a bit scared. I'm a bit nervous. I don't know what's going on. Like, I took a gamble by going on stage, by putting my trust in him and like looking to him almost for reassurance and like guidance, and just waiting for instructions to what was going to happen. And like me, if you're going to see the show and you're scared of taking part, please do not be scared, because especially if you're hypnotized, like a few of us after the not after the show, but because I was hypnotized before the interval, he got one of his team to check us out in another room after we'd been used on stage, just to make sure we were all okay and we didn't have any like side effects and anything. So yeah, just don't be scared and just embrace it, because it's just incredible and still one of the best things that's ever happened to me. So yeah. Question number 12. When you were asleep, were you still aware of everything that was happening around you, and how did it feel when you woke up again? It's such a weird experience. Like, being hypnotised, I always thought I was be suggestible. So I always thought, if I go to the show, because when I went to see it in Bradford, I went to the show completely open-minded, and I said, if I can be hypnotised, I'll be hypnotised. If I can go on stage, I'll go on stage. I'll try. Not really expecting anything. So when it did happen, I was a bit like, oh god, oh shit. But yeah, like, it's a very odd thing being hypnotised, because this is what my mum told me. Like, I had no idea what was going on. But apparently when he said sleep, when me and 3 of the guys were on stage, all of our heads dropped all at the same time, and then our arms just like slammed down at our sides, which I just find crazy. I was shocked when I found that out. I was like, what? But the way I would describe it is you are aware, but I knew he was on stage and talking, but it almost didn't feel like we were on stage. I knew, which was weird because I knew I was standing on the stage looking out to the audience, but it didn't feel, it felt like we were just in a room. It's so bizarre. I don't know. But when he was talking, I guess I wasn't really aware of what he was saying because I had to ask my mum what he said when I came out, when I went to my seat again. But when he brings you back awake, it's almost like refreshing. It almost feels good, like it's super relaxing, and you're just breathing normally, your eyes shut, and it's very nice. I liked the feeling, and I do think ever since it's happened to me, I've been more relaxed. I've not really been stressed out as much. I've been sleeping a lot better, which is good. Yeah, so it's just a nice feeling, really. I can't really describe it as anything else. And obviously my memory did come back, so that's a bonus. Question number 13. How did the show make you feel emotionally? Oh, it was so cute. It was just... It was one of the best... It was so emotional, but in a good way. Like, I felt so connected to the show, so open-minded by it and everything. And if you don't know, Darren lost his dad in COVID, and the show was connected to that. And at the end of the show, this is going to spoil the ending, so if you go and do not watch. So at the end of the show, during one of the sections, he was talking about how Frank Sinatra was his dad's favourite singer. So before the show starts, there's just music by Frank Sinatra playing. There's like references to Frank Sinatra in the show, on the stage, everything. And he has a singer which comes out and does like a gospel version of That's Life, which was absolutely stunning. And he said how he would have wanted that to be at the funeral, but because it was during COVID, they couldn't have that. So the fact that they had it in the show with a photo of his dad and then him just looking at the photo was just... It did make me emotional. It did make me tear up, like, because I connected to it, which was just stunning. So brilliant. Question number 14. I have sort of answered this, but what did I think to the concept? I loved it, and I just thought because it was in COVID, it was more relatable. So in a sense, it was easier to connect. So yeah, I just... absolutely brilliant, and would highly recommend the show. Yeah. And finally, question number 15. What 3 words would you use to describe the show to someone who has never seen Derren Brown live? Oh, God. 3 words. I would say emotional. Wholesome. And then my last word with a little hyphen between, mind-boggling. It's just, yeah, but also amazing. Like, there's so many words I could use to describe it because it was just absolutely insane. But honestly, guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. And I do just want to give a massive shout out to Derren Brown and his amazing team for putting together one of the best live shows ever. Like, it's just, I'm lost for words. I still am, and I saw the show like over a month ago now. No, not over a month. A few weeks ago. And yeah, I could see the show over so many times and not get bored of it because it's just insane. But yeah, and Derren, you are a true showman. You are the greatest showman. We love you. Never, ever, ever, ever retire. Please do more shows because, yeah, I'm in awe of you and all you do. So, yeah, thank you for letting me be part of the show. Thank you for choosing me to participate and have the best experience of my life. And I will link my other video, which is the whole story of me getting on stage with Darren and everything. So yeah, enjoy that one. But for now, everyone, if you did enjoy, please do not forget to like, comment and subscribe. Turn on the bell and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. But for now, this is Redhead Boo signing off. Bye!